In this video, I'm going to cover what you can do to maximize your practice time, being able to get a lot done in just 15 minutes of practice. And if you watch until the end of the video, I'm going to give you a nice little surprise that I think that you will enjoy that will help you with your piano learning journey, even if you are a beginner. This video is not going to be very long, but it's basically going to go over what you need to do within that 15 to 20 minute practice time. That way you can get the most done while you're able to condense the time it takes to practice. So the first thing, there's really three things you really need to focus on when you are practicing. The obvious aspect that you want to work on is whatever song it is that you're going to work on. But in most cases, that is going to be the last thing that you're going to work on. And that's the thing that you can spend, let's say, the final 5 or 10 minute window of your practice time. That's the time that you're going to be using to spend on the song. But there are two other things that you really need to focus on in the practice session that can help you even catapult the speed in which you learn your songs. The first thing that you need to do within the first 5 or so minutes is to do some kind of warm up, right? Now, there are different types of warm ups, so it really depends on what style of learning or piano that you want to learn. That's going to determine the warm up. Here's what I mean. If you are a complete beginner, usually the first type of warm up that you really should do is to learn your scales. So that means you want to go through at least each of the major and minor scales. Let's say if I were to give you a scale to work on right now, if you were to start with the C scale, again, if you're a complete beginner, C is the white key to the left of the two black keys, and it goes D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then it repeats itself. If I were to teach you to play a scale, let's say if we were to go for a C major scale, for just the right hand, you can take 5 minutes to practice a scale for the right hand and the left hand. So, for example, the thumb will go to C for the right hand. The two finger would go to D, your index finger. The third finger would go to E, your middle finger. And then you would take your thumb and bring it under your third finger to go to the next key, which is F. So you got to do a passing of the thumb under and then reposition. So 1, 2, 3. Thumb under to F. Reposition. Index finger goes to G. Middle finger then goes to A. The ring finger goes to B. And then the pinky goes to C. So you would take the time to learn your major scales. You can take that 5 minute warm-up session to go over, let's say, the right hand going up and then going back down, and then just going through the left hand going up and going back down. So after you've learned how the scale works, you can spend maybe 2 or 3 minutes just working on going up and back a few times with the right hand, which shouldn't take any more than 2 to 3 minutes, and another 2 to 3 minutes to work on the left hand going up and back. And if you've gotten to a point where you know each of the hands separately, then you can take the 5 minute session and be able to play both hands together. You may even spend 5 minutes for a few days just going up with both hands together, and another 5 minutes for the next few days going back down and then just welding them together. And you would do the same exact process for the scale for each of the other keys, because each and every single key has its own scale. So C has its own major scale, right? C sharp has its own major scale. D has its own scale. So you want to spend, again, the first 5 minutes just going through, one scale at a time. So you may just go through each scale and then just make that a part of your warm-up. So the warm-up is important because it starts to wake up the motor skills with your fingers, and it gets you into the mode of playing. So that is the first part. Before I get into the next part that you need to know or need to add to your practice session, I do want to bring to your attention that I do have a free piano in 3 steps video. So if you're a complete beginner and you want to learn piano, get in, your foot in the door, the 3 steps video will go over how to name the keys, and it'll also go over how to play chords and melodies both together at the same time. That video is available for free in the description box. You just click the link to sign up. Make sure that you do that before you leave this particular video. So once you've gotten the warm-up, another 5 minutes that should be spent on what we call technique. So this could be a very simple exercise, something like this, right? You can just do a simple C, D, E, F, G exercise. So you may want to do this for the right hand and the left hand. So again, you spend a couple of minutes for the right hand, another couple of minutes for the left hand. So it could be something like this, right? So thumb on C, index finger for D, third finger for E, or middle finger for E, and there will be no switching. You're just going to stay right in this spot. So the ring finger for F, the pinky goes to G, you step back down to F, step back down to E, step back down to D, and step back down to C. And you just loop it and go back up. So all you're playing is just this C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C, and you're just keeping it going. Once you learn a simple exercise like that, and likewise with the left hand, except the left hand would start with the pinky and go up this way. So pinky for C, ring finger for D, third finger or middle finger for E, index finger for F, thumb for G, and then you're just going to walk right back down. F, E, D, C. And the reason why you want to do this exercise is because you want to focus on a few things. Number one, you're going to use the exercise to keep your fingers nice and relaxed. This is a part of the technique portion where you're going for the feel and the way that your hand should be shaped, and this simple exercise will help you put those things into practice. So making sure that your elbows, your shoulders, all the way to your fingertips are nice and loose and relaxed. So you can just practice relaxing your fingers as you're doing this technique exercise. And there are tons of technique exercises both on my channel, and there's a ton of books that you can use to learn different technique exercises to work on this very thing. So let's say if we do that same exercise where we have C, D, E, F, G. One way to keep your fingers relaxed is to start with the thumb, bring your wrist up. For the next key, bring your wrist down. So what you're checking for is wrist looseness. So up, down, up. So you should be able to move your wrists freely as you're playing these notes. The other thing that you should keep in mind as you're practicing your technique is to keep your fingers nice and curved. So pretend that this is the key of the piano put on its side. The fingertips should be the only part of your hand touching the keyboard. Sometimes people will do this. That's not good. Sometimes you'll see people in their tutorials doing this, where their fingers are bent inward. You don't want that. You want your fingers to be nice and curved, as if there is a small baseball in between your hands and the keys. So that's another technique that you really should be keeping in mind as you're doing these exercises. And if you want to get really fancy, you can do both hands together. So you see how my fingers are nice and curved? I can do the wrist movement. So again, you can just loop this for the right hand for a couple of minutes, loop this for the left hand for a couple of minutes. That way you can start really building that relaxation feeling and keeping the right technique. So then when it's time for you to go into your song, which you'll spend the remaining 5 to 10 minutes of your practice time on, you'll be able to apply the relaxation and the proper technique from the previous exercise into the actual song. And then depending on the key that you're working on with the song, if you're working on a key, a scale that is in that key, the scale will actually help you not only learn the melody for the songs a lot faster, but it'll also help you learn the chords that you're working on, that you might be working on for your songs a lot quicker too. Because if you were working on a song in, let's say, the key of D major, right? If you learn the D major scale, you'll be able to find the notes a lot quicker because melodies and chords are will almost always drawn from the scale. So whenever you're playing a chord in a particular key, it's usually coming from the scale that belongs to that key. And when you're playing a melody in a particular key, most of the notes, if not all the notes from the melody, are also drawn from the scale for that particular key. So learning the scale as a warm-up along with the technique will help contribute to the song that you are working on at the end of your practice. So again, warm up for 5 minutes, work on your technique for 5 minutes, and then work on your song for 5-10 minutes or however long you want to work on the song. But definitely want to add the warm up, definitely want to add the technique before you get into the song. So that is how you can put in 15 minutes of practice and how to maximize that short window of time and be able to get a lot done. So here's the thing. I did say I was going to, if you watch until the end, I was going to give you guys a really cool video. I have another video on practice because I have a lot of students who have a busy schedule and they always ask me, how am I supposed to incorporate practice time into my busy schedule? I have a formula that you can use if you have a busy schedule but still want to learn piano. The link is in the top right corner of this video where I go over how to manage practice time and be able to fit it in your schedule. Just like the 15 minutes that I've shown you, you can add it to that schedule. So there's a whole formula that I break down on how to do that. So make sure that you put that, that you check out that video. And if you like this content, a few things, make sure that you not only subscribe, but also turn on the notification bell, because just because you subscribe does not mean that whenever I post a video, which is each week, that you will get notified for it. So if you turn on the bell, whenever I release a new video, which will be once a week, so you don't have to worry about me blowing up your phone, you will get a notification alert in your phone that I released a new video. Also, if you hit the like button, it helps my video get pushed out to more people. And make sure if you have friends or family who might find this video interesting, feel free to share it. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments section and I would be more than happy to help you there. So thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.